Yo, what's going on everyone? So right now, since we're in the middle of the Tanabata Celebration, I figured now would be a great chance to just look at what's left for the celebration as a whole, and just kind of speculate on the big ticket items we will still see that will hopefully help the celebration end on a rather high note. So I figured the best way to kind of start this off was just kind of looking at the timeline. Of course, you see that I have that pulled up right now, and just look at what we saw from the last year Tanabata Celebration and use that to kind of inform us going into this one, right? So, going into last year's celebration, going at the end of June to kind of start things off, we did start things off with the Super Saiyan 4 Goku and the Cyber Tech Baby. And that's kind of similar to what we started off with this celebration, right? We did, right now we have the Tech UI Goku and the Cyber Dispo, so this part's already kind of taken care of. But then going into the month of July, there's still some other things as part of the celebration. So, there are a couple EZAs. Last year we got the Dokkan Festival Beerus, we also had the Super Saiyan God Goku, and we did have LR Baby with their EZAs. And then also we did have the Carnival Omega Shenron for like the part 2 unit of the celebration. So I would say those are really the big main ticket items. Aside from that, there are some free-to-play EZAs and stuff like that, but really it's those kind of units that really made the big ticket kind of noise for the celebration as a whole to kind of help it end off on a really decent note, I would say. And then after, Baby got his EZA, just to kind of mention this part, then we had a bit of a filler Dokkan Festival banner, if you will, with Tech Trunks, and then afterwards we went into the worldwide celebration. So that's just kind of how things went last year. That's going to be pretty much the same how things will probably go this year around. But one thing worth mentioning, which is a big difference, is the fact that this year we have something very new, which is Super EZAs, right? Super EZAs have been a part of the JP side of the game, and in general, really, the game as far as the Saiyan Day celebration during this year, right? So since the month of March, we've been having a Super EZA every single month. So during March, it was the Super Saiyan 3 AGL Goku. Then in April for JP, it was the Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks. Then in May for the Golden Week celebration, it was the physical Super EZA for Kid Buu. And then last month for us, it was the physical Goku Black. And now that's basically why we're all expecting a Super EZA to happen this month, in the month of July, for the Tanabata celebration, and the theme around that sort of stuff being the Tournament of Power. So we'll have to kind of speculate on the different stuff. I will say, it's kind of unclear whether or not the Super EZA will kind of replace one of these slots, if you will, for EZAs. Me personally, I'm sure a lot of people hope the same thing, which is that it will be an additional kind of EZA slot aside from these kind of big ticket EZAs already. But I would not be surprised if Dokkan decides to just replace one of these big ticket EZA slots with the Super EZA to kind of keep things balanced and keep things kind of at a good pace for them. So we'll have to wait and see, of course. But the first thing I figured we would talk about is the EZAs. EZAs are definitely a big part of these sorts of celebrations. So there are some units that I think are highly expectant to get an EZA sometime soon. And since the whole kind of theme of the celebration seems to be revolving around Universe Survival Saga, I think a lot of people are expecting EZAs to kind of fall into some of these units, right? Obviously, we do have the INTA EZA for the Android 17 or the Team Universe 7. That's actually live right now. So they're one of the big kind of EZAs, I guess, if you will, for the celebration so far. But I mean, we're not going to get just one. We're probably going to get 1 or 2 more EZAs at the minimum. So as far as other options I have for EZAs, I think one of the biggest ones has to be Tech LR Jiren. I think a lot of people agree with me when I say this, but Tech LR Jiren, being one of the older units now who has not gotten an EZA, he needs it really badly for like several reasons. One being, of course, he himself is just really mediocre. I mean, looking at his whole kind of kit design, he doesn't boost himself in any way with his supers. He is able to kind of work against enemies with attack or defensive down sorts of status, but really there's not many sorts of difficult kind of content that revolve around that sort of concept. So Jiren is definitely a bad unit right now. He has no damage reduction, no guard, no dodging, so he's definitely suffering right now. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why he should get an EZA. But also, in terms of the other kind of benefits, him getting an EZA also serves as an opportunity for them to kind of bolster some other categories like Universe 11, other things like Super Bosses. So those would be kind of nice benefits there. And Jiren, of course, he does lead Universe 11 and Universe Survival Saga, so those are kind of nice added benefits as well. So I will say Tech Jiren is probably like my number 1 pick for an EZA for sure. Like if there's no other EZAs coming, I really want Tech Jiren for that kind of purpose. I feel like it would be a great kind of choice there. Now, I will say also, before we get into some of the other options, I will mention, a lot of them kind of follow this trend of leads. When we talk about the Universe Survival Saga lead, the best lead right now for sure is Tech UI Goku, but after that there's a significant kind of fall off, I would say, because of the whole 9th anniversary, the 9th year meta shifts and everything. Like units like STR Jiren, units like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken Goku, they're not that good anymore, and they got their EZAs last year, so it's just kind of crazy to think about that their EZAs are still relatively recent and they're not that good anymore for leads and to be trusted on important teams. But even aside from those types of units, right, Tech Hit, for example, the Super Saiyan God Goku and Hit right here, LR Golden Frieza and 17 right there, even Tech Jiren that I just mentioned, they also lead the category, but they're definitely mediocre units at this point in time, so you'll see some of them also be on this list as well, like the next one we have, which is, of course, the Super Saiyan God Goku and Hit. So, I just talked about them, but, they're actually not as bad of a unit, I would say, as Tech LR Jiren. I mean, a good thing about them is they have the ability to dodge, of course. They are able to disable guard, so that's kind of nice, I suppose. They are able to stun, so that's really nice for like things like Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road and stuff like that. And of course, the other thing is that they lead the category Universe of Rival Saga, so that could be a nice kind of opportunity for them to kind of just give us another really good lead for the category itself. And the thing about this unit is they do have a couple categories, but they're not really versatile. But Legendary Existence is a nice one, Accelerated Battle is another one, so could be some opportunities there. Now, what I will say is, because of the fact that this unit on the JP side of the game, specifically I'm talking about here, he released at the end of October, so that's kind of like a weird time. I would kind of say that we're probably not going to see his EZA during the celebration. I feel like this is one of those units where you can save the EZA for a random time throughout the year itself for the game and everything, so I think this is one of those units where I would say it's fine to kind of leave them in the back burner, and then just at a random point when you need like a big ticket kind of EZA, you pull these units out of the box and use them for their EZA. So that's what I'll probably say there. Another one though we just talked about is Golden Frieza 17. So they're a unit that I would like to actually see for the celebration with EZA, and I think they're actually probably the most likely to get a celebration, or most likely to get an EZA, I should say. I was talking about Tech Jiren, how I want him to be the #1 kind of option here, but realistically, it's this Frieza and 17 who are most likely to get it, because we just got the EZA for the Int Android 17 and the Team Universe 7, and this unit came out at the same time as the physical Golden Frieza and 17. Both of them were Part 2 kind of LRs for the 60th year anniversary of Dokkan, so since we already got the EZA for the Int unit, I figure we probably will get the EZA for the physical one too, and actually I'm kind of looking forward to this, because again, that Universe of Rival Saga lead, that's going to be fantastic. Also, boosting the attacks, so we've seen a lot of units now get crazy high attack stats. I would love to see another one with great crazy damage numbers. That'd be obviously pretty fun. But also, when we look at this unit, he actually has some really good potential. He's able to reduce damage received by 7% within the same turn for each attack he's performed, so given the ability to do a bunch more like additionals and everything, this unit can actually do some really good work. And then obviously, a big thing is if he gets some stat boosts. 70% just to start off is not good enough anymore. If this gets bolstered to maybe like 200%, 250% or something like that, then I would not see any reason why this unit cannot be actually pretty decent, even with just a couple small minor tweaks in the grand scheme of things. But we'll have to see what they do. Hopefully they make this unit really good, because I would love to see this unit cook. And obviously, the fact that he's on Battle of Wits, Battle of Fate, representing his Universe 7, all these kind of smaller kind of categories, if you will. They're not really exactly smaller categories, but the fact that he's on several categories, I should say, it would be nice to see him be a pretty nice unit, a pretty fun unit for sure, especially as an extreme physical unit that we could pair with some other kind of units on teams and everything like that. Now, the final unit for an EZA option is a bit different here, but you see here, I have this physical Frieza. This is the Dokkan Festival Frieza, so he is an interesting unit. Actually, he should be a Dokkan Festival Frieza. Yeah, there he is, a Dokkan Festival unit. I almost forgot for a sec if he was, but, this Frieza is definitely a unit that's interesting. He's relatively old himself, came out in 2020 for JP, and he leads two kind of mediocre categories, or I guess like categories that you don't really think about, but Resurrected Warriors and Otherworld Warriors, both are categories that definitely could use benefits, use some help, use some just sort of boost overall. So Frieza could definitely be a bit of an option there, being able to stack his defense with his super attack pre-transformation. That's gonna be nice. The ability to seal, of course, with his 12 key during his pre-transform state, and when he goes into Golden Frieza, he's able to stun through his passive. He's able to reduce damage received by 50% when HP is below a certain HP threshold. So there's a lot of opportunities for this Frieza, and the big thing about this Frieza for me is the fact that, for one, he's an extreme physical unit. He's a standalone Frieza, so he has a bunch of categories, right? You see Resurrected Warriors, Otherworld Warriors, which are both part of his leader. He's also in Universe of Rival Saga, Wicked Bloodline, things like Sworn Enemies. So those are all kind of things that would be quite beneficial if this Frieza got an EZA. And the fact that we're kind of focused on the Tournament of Power theme makes me think that this has an opportunity to happen. Now, frankly, again, if I have to choose my like two other remaining options for EZAs, if there's like only the two I can pick, one's probably going to be the physical Golden Frieza in 17, and then the other one that I would like to see happen, I'm pretty sure they will probably do this, is the Tech LR Jiren. Tech LR Jiren, I think, is going to be an EZA just because of the fact that, we're still kind of waiting to see who the Part 2 Carnival LR will be, and I'll give my options as far as what I think it will be like in a short moment. But the idea that the Part 2 Carnival LR will probably be a bad guy or a villain of the story, I think that could kind of help tie into the idea of getting LR Jiren his EZA. So we'll have to kind of wait and see what they do. But those are kind of, I guess, like my four main kind of ideas for EZAs, and especially, obviously, my two main top kind of choices for EZAs between Jiren and the Golden Frieza in 17. Now, when we talk about Super EZAs, that's going to be something interesting, because we're only going to get one Super EZA, so they have to kind of make it count. Right now, I do have three kind of options for it. One is definitely Tech Hit. Tech Hit is one of the older kind of units who's gotten an EZA on this whole kind of Tournament of Power theme. And for those who don't remember, the way they're doing Super EZAs is going to be like Dokkan Festival units pretty much, and LRs. So we'll kind of have to wait and see what they do, how they're going to cook. But I was looking at basically units that were kind of old as far as their EZA is concerned, and Tech Hit is definitely one of those units on the list. You know, he got his EZA back in 2021, so it's almost been 3 years since his EZA came out. And he's got an interesting kind of design. Obviously, you know, he leads Universe 6, he leads a Universe Survival Saga, so another kind of unit that could get a boost there. He's designed to work with Universe 6 units, and you know, it's all kind of interesting how he could work. Obviously, being able to work with target Goku kind of teams, rapid growth, legendary existence, accelerated battles, super bosses too. So there could be some nice kind of fun things there. And one thing that kind of makes me think that this could be a possibility is that we just recently got, like right before the Tanabata Celebration started, we got a mission for the legendary Frieza event, which was to beat it with a team of Universe 6 category units. So I think the idea that Hit could get his Super EZA will be a pretty fantastic kind of boost to that side of things, because obviously, you know, Universe 6 leader, a great unit if he gets his Super EZA, which they're most likely going to cook. So I'm kind of excited for all that, but we'll have to, again, you know, see what they got. Other than Hit, though, I mean, there's some other kind of options. Obviously, going into LR now, we do have the Tech Goku and Frieza, or I guess Go Frieza if you want to call him that, during like how people call them in Legends and everything. But they're definitely a unit that needs a Super EZA too. You know, they got their EZA back in like the early part of 2021, so they're definitely a year old at this point. And you know, when we look at them, they're a unit that sucks. They're just not that great of a unit because, I mean, there's like a couple reasons why. I mean, one thing is that they're not really getting much stat boost. You know, that's a major thing on its own. But aside from that, you know, they're, again, similar to like Tech LR Jiren. They're built to work against attack down and defensive down sorts of status. And that's all well and good, except, you know, in a lot of content, especially hard content, right, you don't really see that being a situation now. So that really does kind of hurt a unit like this. So I would like to see a unit with such an iconic moment as this unit get a Super EZA during the celebration. I think it's a perfect opportunity between all-out struggle, full power, tournament participants, Universe 7 representatives, and then Tournament of Power, Universe Survival Saga. There's a lot of kind of categories that this unit could work with, so I think that would be kind of nice, and it'll be interesting to see if they actually go with this kind of direction here. Now, the last one here, this is probably an interesting kind of choice here, is the Int Ultra Instinct Goku, the first, I think, Ultra Instinct Goku that we've seen. And his EZA, you know, he's also got an old EZA with 2021, but he's an interesting unit because the thing is, after his EZA, he was given actually some nice kind of things, right? He's gotten attack and defense stacking on his super attacks, and that's from his pre and post transformation kind of states, right? Aside from that, you know, he's capable of boosting his stats just flat out with 150% boost to his stats. He's able to awaken when HP is 50% or less. And then when he transforms, he's got some nice things. You know, he's got a great chance to dodge in general. He disables guards. He has guaranteed dodge for the first turn after he transforms. So those are things you kind of see in great LRs and units right now. But the problem with this unit for sure is the fact that he lacks damage reduction. He is unable to support his allies in any way, which, you know, the Tech UI Goku does have that sort of ability. And then also, you know, the stats are kind of mediocre to say the least, right? You know, 100% defense just in general, that's not good enough at this point in time. So that's definitely something that has to be improved. And even like the 150% there, that's not good enough either. So, you know, this is one of the units where I would be interested to see if they do a Super EZA for this one as well, though I think this is probably the least likely of the three because this unit is still built semi-decently, I would say. I mean, it's not like a unit you want to take or anything like that, and the stats sure as hell don't say anything about this unit being good. But at the same time, compared to like, you know, the Go Frieza right here, compared to even like Tech Hit, who I would say is semi-decent, I would say both of those probably need a Super EZA more just to kind of boost their value in comparison to Int UI. I feel like Int UI is not really a big kind of a big deal in terms of how important it is for him to get his Super EZA, but we'll have to wait and see, of course, what they do there as well. Now, the last thing to talk about, of course, is the Carnival LR, and this is where things get kind of interesting, right? You know, Carnival LRs, the game has the ability to kind of choose what they want for the second part of the celebration, right? But, you know, in terms of what we saw from, like, the timeline, right? When we started off the celebration last year, we started off with a good guy, right? With the Super Saiyan 4 Goku. That was last year. Then when we went into the month of July for the part 2 and everything, the Carnival LR was like the antithesis to that Goku with Omega Shenron, right? Same kind of theme, GT and stuff, but the opposite of Goku, right? Good guys to start off, bad guy to finish it off. So, you know, if we're kind of sticking with that kind of concept, we already started with Tech UI Goku, so that's like our good guy, if you will, for the celebration. Now we have to kind of wait and see for a bad guy. Now, a bad guy obviously means that's probably going to be a bit of a super bosses kind of related unit. Maybe they won't lead super bosses, but they'll definitely be in that sort of focus. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see who they kind of choose. But I think if we're talking about like the big ticket kind of options, the big name kind of units that you could pull from the Tournament of Power and stuff, I mean, Jiren has to be at the top of your list. You know, Jiren is definitely a unit that literally counters, he's the exact opposite of the Tech UI Goku in terms of the moment in the story, in terms of all that sort of stuff. So Jiren could be a great pick there. I think another Hit would not be a bad choice. I mean, Hit is definitely a dope unit and he fits into super bosses himself. So I think it would be kind of cool to see Hit be a choice for like a Carnival LR and things of that nature, although I think he's probably less likely as a unit to be pulled compared to Jiren, so we'll have to kind of see there. Some other kind of units I guess you could try to mention, I mean, I've seen some people kind of mention the idea of like team, like universe kind of teams and stuff, or universe type units. Like we do have, for example, if I can find them, the Intopo down here. So technically Intopo is working with the Pride Troopers you see here, so we could maybe get a full unit that just completely encapsulates Universe 11 or Universe 6 or something along that line, in which case then that could be a new unit all on its own. It would be kind of interesting. The categories would probably suck, but still it would be kind of fun. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they choose, but I think, you know, for sure Hit and Jiren are probably the top two kind of picks. I don't think we're going to see any sort of Kale or Cauliflower or Kefla or anything like that, so probably going to rule that out. I think, you know, it would be interesting if they went kind of crazy with like something like a Carnival Frost. I don't think there's anyone who's hoping for a Carnival Frost. Maybe there is like one fan out there, in which case shout out to you, but I don't think anyone is realistically expecting Frost to be the Carnival LR, so I mean, it's interesting. Maybe they do something like Universe 2. I think what we're going to see is probably a Universe kind of Carnival unit, but I mean, if they do a standalone unit, I wouldn't mind it being Jiren or Hit. I think those are like the two kind of obvious choices, but at the same time, they're obvious for a good reason. Both of them, I think, perfectly kind of fit the role of a Carnival LR to kind of serve as that antithesis to Goku's kind of concept and everything, being the good guy. So I think that's kind of the options we got there. We'll have to wait and see, of course, what they do. But in any case, that's going to do it for the vid. If you guys liked it, of course, hit the like button down below, subscribe so you can see more vids like this in the future, comment down below what your sort of expectations and hopes are for the EZAs, the Super EZA, and especially the Carnival LR for the whole time Tanabata Celebration to help it kind of finish off on a really good note, and feel free to check out some of the other content I have on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.